Let's do it.
Love it, Zoom. Thank you, mate. Not to trigger anybody, but yes, I am wearing a Carlton Football Club hat. Do you even watch sport, mate?
Mate, what is sport? I don't know what sport is. I'm into the arts, dance and interpretation, feelings. I'm a beta male through and through. Just kidding.
Fuck, I went down a rabbit hole of male sexual fucking Instagram, I guess they call them influencers. Couple of
what
weeks
do you
back.
mean? Sexual Instagram influencers?
Yeah, they're a thing, mate.
What like in what way?
Like,
are they just like thirst trapping, just like flexing and basically acting like how hot chicks act on Instagram?
No. It's the opposite. So, like, I think the so they also talk about some sort of sigma male sort of thing going on, and that's when you're a bit alpha and a bit beta. So I guess you're diverse. You're in touch with your male and feminine and all that carry on. But yeah, that's a vibe. And there's one bloke.
They're all just trying to achieve the same thing.
Yeah, this one bloke would. And what is that, Jack?
Getting roots.
Yeah, they're still just trying to get laid. And their tactic is, I know so much about sexuality, darling.
Sorry, you're saying you found this one guy?
Yeah, he was trying to up his male audience. Had a good yarn with him, actually. I was just kind of like, fuck, mate, you got 20,000 followers. You got 40% of that's male. Like, stop your whinging. Yeah. I was just like, what's the game, mate? Well, like, do you have clients? He's like, yeah. I was like, do you need to grow them? He's like, oh, no, I don't need to. I'd like to. I was like, cool. Is it growing? He's like, yeah. I was like, work it.
Sweet. Whatever he's doing's working it out.
I was like, just fucking be patient, mate.
Totally.
Yeah.
So what have you been, mate? It's been ages.
Yeah, bro. It's like a long time ago. It was before it ticked over the 100, and now it ticked over the 200. So yeah,
nice. Well done, mate.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. Just keep talking shit with people. It's that straightforward.
Sterling episode of episode 200 with Andy Ross / Randy Boss / Sandy Box.
Oh, I like it all. Yeah, mate. We're in my part of New Zealand, what's called level 3. So essentially it's level 4, but I can go to work, which is fantastic. I didn't go to work in level 3 last year, but somebody can have an appointment. The doors are locked. I do an appointment with a face mask on and a face shield. Whenever I'm touching the patient, I've got some gloves on. I've got a shield on my slit lamp, which is my microscope that I sit behind. It's lots of fun. We book out an hour for them to come in and do what they need to do, make sure they're not going blind. Some people actually do need some glasses to bloody operate, so we can sort that out. But we had 2 days of patients last week, and I think we've got a half day of people tomorrow. This, of course, is coming out on Tuesday, so that'll be yesterday. And then I think 2 people on Tuesday, so that'll be my week.
That's awesome that you can still work, mate. I've got like pretty much all my work has been cancelled, but whatever. Just
bro,
like,
you
whatever.
Doing a mural today. I was going to say, I'm glad to hear that rich people, bankers, and drug dealers are still trying to launder their money.
Well, this is actually a not paid mural. I was just doing this because, to be honest, sitting at home fucking sucks, and it's and I just forked out money just to paint a wall because I'm just like, oh man. I mean, I don't even know how long we've been in lockdown now. Every single day just bleeds into the next. Probably 4 or 5 weeks, I'd say.
On this run,
yeah, exactly. So I just thought, I've just got to, I just got to get out, get the sun on my shoulders, and mate, no one gives a fuck when you're painting a mural. Everyone's so happy just to see something happening. People just walk past, they're so happy. Just like I could be painting the worst thing in the world, and people are just happy that someone's doing something. So it's actually just been like, it's not a paid gig or anything, but it's just like brighten up Melbourne, brighten myself up as well, really.
Yeah, and
But,
I was channeling a little bit of you today. I was using some pastel, not crayons, chalk on the concrete. Yeah, with my daughter. I drew a nice circle, and then I put it into segments, and I coloured in all the little triangles. The opposing triangles were the same colours. I did the same.
See, you're an artist, mate. You're an artist. Sports in the facade, and an artist in the heart.
Yeah, mate. Sigma male.
Alpha beta. Yeah.
I really don't know. They're just terms. I'm trying to adopt them.
Yeah, I'm a delta male, apparently, I reckon.
Yeah, you're the variant.
Yeah, I'm the variant. Exactly. The unusual variant that's weirdly contagious.
Yeah, so I dived into Randy Boss's recommendation of some gypsy tales, and he brought up, I think he recorded that last week, and he brought up the fact that you guys have been locked down for like 260 odd days. And I was like, shit, yeah, you guys have nearly been inside for a year. It's outrageous.
No shit. I've just been putting it all out of my brain. I mean, he's been keeping track of all the stats and stuff. So that is actually quite shocking to hear. I've never even thought about that. Almost a year. So that's like
we'll call it two-thirds of the year. Yeah,
2/3 of a year. That's a long time. It really is.
But like most numbers, there's a little bit of over exaggeration going on.
Yeah. No. Hey, never let the truth get in the way of a good yarn.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate with old Gypsy Tales. He got on to a great analogy, and when you first heard it, you were like, shit, mate, that is a good analogy. He's talking about driving cars and the risk of injuries and stuff like that. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh no, that's whole population of Australia. We're really only talking about those that got COVID in Australia. So your analogy fell down. But yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough. You try reason shit. So really, old mate, there's only 61,619 as of today on Google. So that information is probably false. That have had COVID. So that's, it's a large city.
Yeah, totally.
Not for you guys. Not for you guys. That's not a large city for Australia. Yeah, New Zealand, large city.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are pretty much in the same boat as us at the moment?
Yeah, so as I said, I checked out some numbers. We've got a fatality of 0.7%. Delta's doing us a favour. We've clocked up another 700. So yeah, that's plummeting our fatality rate, which is handy. You guys are at 1.68, so yeah, we're winning as always. Yeah. We haven't even clocked 4K yet, man. So I think you guys have got 25 million people. We've got we've ducked under 5 million. So yeah, no, and we're doing better. Yeah, we're doing better.
Always. Yeah.
But it's just hard when you like see the rest of the world get absolutely flogged, and they're through the other side, and then for us it's just like, oh, there's one person, shut it down. Yeah. Which of course it wasn't one person. What did I say? 720 people. So it wasn't one person. But it's just hard to be stuck in the like controlling phase of things instead of the relinquishing control phase like most of the rest of the world.
What are your thoughts on these lockdowns?
I'm a bit like you.
Loaded question.
Yeah, no. I'm happy. We've got plenty of time here, Mr. Mate. Jack. The controlling side gets me. Like, okay, so for example, in my job, in New Zealand we have a bunch of DHBs, district health boards, and they were sort of in charge of rolling out vaccination. So again, numbers were about 22.1% fully vaccinated. I'm in that 22.1%, and then we're doing not too bad. At least one is 55%, so we're getting up there. And where I was before, we got it done quite early. Before June, I was double dosed, and then I come up to Waikato, and they're a little bit behind. I don't think too many people that I work with are in that boat. Optometrists are pretty think in a straight line. This is what you do. So this is what you do.
Yep.
And so,
did you say you're double dosed? You've had the shot twice.
I'm double dosed. And so the board, who's sort of interaction with our Ministry of Health kind of has some ambiguous guidelines that say, don't see anyone, but see some people that need your help. And it would be great if you didn't load the hospital. And when it was level 4, it was like, don't see anyone, send them straight to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, well, I thought we were a frontline worker and we can sort of go one in, one out. And I'm vaccinated. I thought that was the point of me getting vaccinated, was that, I can, reduce the burden. But anyway, not to worry. That's where things are. But yeah, the wider community is like, I had to cross the Auckland border today, and I had to cross it on Friday to pick up and drop my daughter off. And that was, that's pretty happy-go-lucky. On Friday, it was kind of like, oh, what are you doing? Me and my ex had organised a little bit of a signed document, and the police were pretty happy with that. And then today they were kind of like, oh, are they coming? Are they here? And once we'd figured out that she'd crossed her border and I was about to cross mine, then they were happy. And so we drove there and back. And actually coming back to my side of things, they took my details, but I don't think that matters.
I think they just glance and on your way, just make sure. I think they pretty much, well, in Australia, they only really want to cause trouble for people who are like partying and carrying on like idiots, or people who are like properly rebelling against the system and trying to make a point out of it. And those folks are growing by the day over here, that's for sure. But
it's funny you say that, because like so during level 4 I went to a place called Gorderton, which was about an hour away and just under an hour for my ex, and saw like no police early on, whereas when I went back towards the change levels for us out in the wider of New Zealand, there was a lot more police, and now it's just the case where there's still people patrolling around towns, but again, still on the roads, it's not that you don't see very many police. So yeah, I think exactly that here. They're worried about what's going on in town and congregations of people. I think we've had one little freedom protest thing that didn't come to much. Like
you're all new to it. You're new to it. It's cute.
Yeah, you went to both of them, brother. Like
mate, there's been more than 2. There's been plenty more than 2. But yeah, I went to 2. I went to 2 of them, not as a supporter.
It was great journalism, man. Did you see many? Like,
it was pretty bizarre. It was fun, actually. But sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say I loved it that how you framed. Would you like to answer some questions? And that was like just your opening line. People, some people were like, yeah, whatever. And then a few people were like, who are you? And you're like, I'm an independent podcaster. And they're like, oh, sweet.
Yeah. They can't do shit with that. Yeah. Some people, as I was talking to them, they're just like, oh, the media, the fake news. And then I'm just like, I'm literally a dude in a hoodie. Like,
so what did you take out there?
Recording equipment.
Yeah.
So I just got a little Zoom, H6, I think.
Yeah. So
I just chucked that in my backpack and just had a cord coming out of my backpack with a mic. So I actually had the mic. I just think like holding a microphone looks better than recording from a phone or something. The second one I did from a phone because that was just like really spur of the moment. But I wish I had cameras, because half the people I was talking to, like, you can't quite realize how, I don't know, seeing a face to the name always makes it that much more interesting. Like there was one guy that I spoke to that was like, he was the guy that I think I said, you're wearing a T-shirt that says real men don't wear masks. And this guy looked like a biker. Like he had neck tattoos. Like he was this massive dude. Like he looked like he wanted to punch my face in. And but yeah, it was very interesting actually going to those things, because first one was at the very start of this current lockdown. When was the first one? It's, like I said, sorry, mate, every day's bleeding into the other at the moment. Now, first one was a while ago, and that was a big one. And I was probably much more just like, check out, this is just, it's just a free-for-all of freak show kind of thing, was when I kind of went into it. I didn't want to like put that on them. I was trying to have as little opinion as I possibly could. But, talking to a huge range of people It's becomes very clear very quickly that they're not all nut jobs. Like some are definitely ridiculous. Some are going on about the international pedophile rings and the New World Order and blah 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 blah, all the good stuff.
But they were the thing with those guys as well is that they're very articulate in what they're doing. It just so happens that the thing that they've researched and invested in is don't want to say not true, but unlikely.
It's not true. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, who really knows what's true? But I think you can safely say that it isn't true based on the fact. I mean, I've been conspiracy theories is like my guilty pleasure. I used to be really into conspiracy theories when I was like in my early 20s, and now I'd say I'm a conspiracy watcher. Like I'm very interested in what the narrative is in conspiracy land. I find it interesting. I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, I think it tickles the same category as, cults and all these kinds of weird things. Like how do people kind of get to have these beliefs? And now we're at a point in the world where it's mainstream to be a conspiracy theorist. Almost, it's like it's getting almost, it's getting so out of hand, these conspiracy theory frame of thinking, that if you're posting about saying something like get the vaccine, we're all in this together, you're just as likely to get a 50-50 divide on people saying you're a puppet of the bloody big pharma or the politicians. To maybe that's just my circle, because I do have a lot of friends that are still quite into conspiracy theories. But yeah, it's almost addictive. It's bizarre how much like conspiracy theories are really infecting the average people's brains. It's almost like a mind virus. I think like it really is. And I'm not. I mean, I was saying like kind of jokingly, like, oh look, there's some nut jobs here, but like I do try and make an effort. I've got my own opinions, but I do try and make an effort. Like I'm happy to coexist and be friends with people who have views that are completely opposite to my own, even if I think they're crazy. Like I've got a friend who's a flat earther. I've got friends that believe the New World Order, the pedophile cabal is taking over the world. So long as they don't have a go at me, I'm not going to have a go at them. I mean, happy to debate the issues, but it's unfortunately at one of these like freedom marches, unfortunately for the people that actually want to focus on things like their businesses are actually being stripped from them, their freedoms are being taken away from them. They do all get put in the same basket at something like the Freedom March. They all get lumped into this one mishmash of weird ideas, of just like a weird collection of people, and it does get very easy to write them all off as nutbags. And yeah, a roundabout way of going, answering the question is like, after going to two of them, I did speak to people who had just had their businesses ripped from under them. One guy said, why are you here? And
I'll be hanging from a rope. Otherwise,
exactly. And I actually thought that guy was one of the people that got me thinking the most. Because I said, why are you here? I remembered. He was very like reasonable though. Because I asked him, it was toward the end of the second one, and I'd kind of had enough of all these people just screaming into my face. I'm like, I'm going to get COVID for sure, but oh well, got to get that content, mate. But yeah, anyway, I asked him, like, what brings you here specifically, and he basically said, if I've lost that much money, I'm that behind on rent, that either I go home tonight and tie a noose around my neck, or I'm here protesting, and I think society would rather I'm here protesting. And I'm like, I think you're right. And I can't argue with that. Like, that's your experience. And then on top of that, I even said, what do you think of Dan Andrews? Because that's like always going to be a big divisive opinion for a lot of people. And he said, I'm in two minds. I don't know him. And I'm just like, well, that's a rational answer. he's not saying this is an evil person trying to take our rights, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I don't know him. I don't know his motivations. He could be acting out of greed or narcissism, or he could actually be acting out of good faith and looking after our safety. And I was like, well, that's the kind of thing that we should be hearing, and the media doesn't really focus on at all. And it was actually after that guy that I just thought, like, I don't know, I just kind of had enough of going to those protests, because I didn't really want to be. Everyone's doing a good job of it. I might go to another one in the future, but the it's just, I just felt like maybe it was contributing to the noise, contributing to the noise, because a lot of people, it's not as funny. It's not as funny as you might think going in and then hearing things like that and coming out. You're like, no, people are really fucked. People are really suffering. It hasn't really changed my opinion about the whole situation, but it's definitely made me think it's more complex, and every single person wants it to be black and white, and that's probably what I got the biggest problem about all of this, is how black and white people are thinking. It's really irritating.
Yeah. So we for you, has it sort of, how have you felt about it? You were getting a gallery together, was that right, or something along those lines?
Yeah. I mean, look, like everyone, had a lot of things fall through. I was had an exhibition last year that was just like a glorified Instagram post. Had another group show about a month ago that was no one could go to. I got another one that's been cancelled. So, but that's not unique. It's that's everyone's reality. I don't know. Like, I guess my whole take on it is, I'm just really weary. As far as I said, nothing has changed except time.
Yeah.
We still haven't been able to see through the initial plan of what the government has tried to do. So but we've had about a year and a half of frustration. And I feel that most people's opinions are now being based on their emotional frustrations, their emotional responses, because it's far easier to have a common enemy than to think rationally. Like, it would be really easy for me to hate on Dan Andrews, and Dan Andrews, is the Premier of Victoria, the state that I live in. He's the one that's keeping everyone locked down, and he's become very divisive, extremely divisive, because he's been very strict. But it would be so much easier, and I would get so much more camaraderie, I think, in hating on this guy. But I also recognize, with everyone else's frustration. But I'm very aware that that's an opinion guided by emotion and frustration, rather than level-headedness and just rational thinking. And so I mean, I don't really know. I don't really know if everything that is happening is right. I'm not a cheerleader of what's going on. Like, we have to. Pretty much after those protest episodes that I did, I kind of just decided to shut the fuck up on the topic for a while, because look, I'll just say I opened a can of worms when I started doing the COVID reporting in the protests, because my DMs were just filled with people wanting to continue the debate privately, and it was just exhausting. And and I'm bloody over it. I'm bloody over these people's extremely strong opinions.
Yeah. So where did the sort of journalist bone come from? Because the Into Deep podcast is mostly about your colleagues. You have a few fun bits of banter here and there, mostly under the guise of Andy Ross. But most of it's about promoting your colleagues and the awesome work they do. But where did this sort of journalistic bone in, and what sort of feelings and empathy did you develop for somebody that's trying to be a journalist day in, day out? If you were getting hounded from two little podcasts.
Look, journalistic is a very charitable word for what I did. I basically just went around and asking people questions, which I guess is, I don't know, kind of what it is really. But yeah, look, I'd say my influences for kind of even getting into podcasting would be there'd be people like Joe Rogan, obviously. There'd be people like Louis Theroux, I think is incredibly interesting. He always picks really strange topics, which I've definitely kind of followed suit on a number of episodes. Even people like, do you follow that guy All Gas No Breaks on Instagram? Oh, he just goes to flat earth conventions, freedom marches, Trump rallies, and just puts a mic in front of people's faces and sees what comes out. So it was kind of just a bit of all that. I wasn't intending to go about it journalistically. It was more I don't know, just actually no, I do know. I got a tip off that it was going to be massive QAnon heavy rally. That's right. That's why I went. But it wasn't that QAnon heavy. It was just very
so what did that entice you? What did that entice you? You said you're quite keen on observing conspiracy. What was it about the fact that someone told you that this Freedom March is going to be bloody the Capitol Hill riots all over again?
Well, I think QAnon's really got me interested. I've been following it. I spoke to one bloke on my podcast a few times called Owen Hughes, and he's just like an obsessive conspiracy watcher. So he's follows all the people really involved in it, and he just basically educated me about QAnon, what the theory is, who are the main players, and blah 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 blah. I think also like the craziness of Trump, and then QAnon being linked to Trump. I was very very glued to Trump. Like I fucking hate Trump, but but addicted to Trump, like a lot of people. And I guess like the more I learned and the more I saw it infecting the mainstream, you know, with Trump, like this wacky conspiracy theory was just infecting the mainstream. That is, it's like this is their moment. You know, conspiracy theories have been around for so long, and it's always been fringe. And now this is probably the first time where it's not being fringe. And I think QAnon kind of has been paving the way. I think a lot of real conspiracy theorists hate QAnon because they see how wacky it is, but they also don't see how wacky their ideas are. So I think that's kind of why QAnon really interests me, because this is a changing in the collective psyche of I don't know, the world, the Western world, maybe not the world, but the Western world. You know, it's there's so many factors: Trump, social media, all these different things. But I mean, this is their moment. This is when it's all happening. They genuinely believe this is the kind of this is the uprising.
Yeah.
It's good. It's great entertainment. And concerning. It's extremely concerning too.
Yeah, so you said there that you're not willing to demonize Dan Andrews, and I agree with that. I'm not willing to demonize Jacinda Ardern, and I don't know whether that's from a Labor upbringing or just a bit like you. I don't know what I'd do in that freaking situation. Yeah. That's not what these people sign up for. But
right, exactly.
And we don't know the back room. We just get the mouthpiece at the end of it and the consequences of the story. But when it came to Trump, you were willing to say that you do hate Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is the points of Trump that you think means that it entices those feelings?
Look, to be honest, again, if I met Trump in person, I would have to reconsider all these strong things of hate and all this stuff. Like, I think like Joe Rogan often says like, oh, it'd be great to do coke with him. And I have to probably say I'd agree. It would be a wild night. And, having a frivolous night with someone like Donald Trump would be a night to remember. That would be hilarious. However, I guess probably more accurately was I hate everything that he stands for. I hate everything that he symbolizes. And I hate a lot of kind of what he's done to the world and the Western world, I guess. And I think why I can put it on him more than probably other politicians is I see him much more as a crystallization of the human ego and narcissism and everything that I think that human beings should aim to move away from within themselves. But we've created this environment where we are rewarding those traits. I mean, you see that on Instagram and stuff. Yeah, like we're talking with these people creating thirst traps, are getting rewarded for their narcissism and stuff. But most of the time it's pretty harmless. Whatever. It's not something that I particularly want to do, but if it's harmless, cool, whatever. They'll figure themselves out one day. But yeah, with Trump, I mean, everything down to his physical appearance. Like, he can't even not be orange. The guy's orange, for fuck's sake. I still can't get over that. So yeah, it's for, I don't know, for me, I just thought it was this huge fork in the road. It's not even our election, but I just thought, it's the USA does lead the way, unfortunately. Like, we always follow suit, the Western world, a lot of the time. And I just saw it as a big fork in the road, a big choice between where we want to, do we want to grow or do we want to roll around in the shit and see how bad it can go? And I think people are even openly voting like that. They said they just want to throw a spanner in the works. And you're like, well, you can throw a spanner in the works intelligently. I mean, Bernie Sanders would have done that. Whether you like all his policies or not, I think he's actually a good person. I don't think Trump is a good person at all, at all. Someone again, but back to people like Dan Andrews and maybe even Jacinta Ardern and stuff. There's a lot of, I don't think they sign up for that. I don't think these, to me, they don't appear to be power hungry individuals. And back to black and white thinking, it's super easy to see someone like Dan Andrews putting the iron fist down and all this stuff. But, just pull it apart. What power is he really getting? Sitting on a big throne and going, like, what's he getting out of it? And we do have to remind ourselves that he is acting on the advice from the medical professionals in the field. This isn't a plan that he concocted out of nowhere. I don't know if it's the right plan. I'm not saying fuck yeah, Dan Andrews, but it's not this crazy conspiracy. That's just not how I see it. I don't see this evil man stripping us of our freedoms and having a wank in the back corner because he's so happy about himself. Like, it's just not how I see it. I could be wrong.
Oh, for sure. Be wrong. For sure, as someone who partook in some thirst trapping in the last month, it was a joke. It was a joke, but yeah, chopping wood with the shirt off, replicating this American dude. It was quite effective, but I don't think it actually drew in the crowd I was looking for. So there's lessons learned with that. I think
some unwanted private messages there.
Thankfully, no, not too many unwanted messages, but very interesting demographic that showed up on my page, and they seem to have stuck around. But yeah, it's quite funny.
Wonderful.
I think what you were saying about Trump and he's like I say, he probably is a great person in small doses. If you never had to see him again, like you wouldn't want him as a friend, because he'd probably chew you up and spit you out, for saying the wrong thing. Throw you under the bus, as he did with many of his staff. But I think it has influenced like our landscape here. He created a wedge. He, like you say, he sort of represented this egotistical, narcissistic type environment and binary environment. And there was, I heard somebody talking the other week about how after Trump, people have looked back at George Bush and gone, he wasn't that bad, really. Like, got us involved.
Isn't it amazing? And how fucked was George Bush? Like, we only just got they only just got out of Afghanistan, and now it's Biden's fault because of what happened in Afghanistan. But the whole thing was George Bush's mess. Yeah. Like, it was an unfounded war. It was all ridiculous. But in comparison, and I think that's the strategy of American politics. Like, well, if we just make something way worse, then the previous guy who was horrible might seem pretty good. And people like buy that. Everyone thinks George Bush is all right these days. He was fucked. George Bush was fucked.
So as a keen conspiracy observer, I love it that like people look at the opium fields and think heroin, and there's probably a lot to do with heroin, but people forget that morphine is a very useful drug, and opium is very useful for a lot of pain relief. What have you sort of observed in conspiracy land around soldiers protecting opium fields in Afghanistan? And there's a bit to do with marijuana in Afghanistan. I understand. Again, I don't dive into these places.
Wait, so the question is about opium fields in Afghanistan?
Yeah.
And about what, Biden?
No, just like what they were doing there. What?
To be honest, I haven't really looked into that a whole bunch, other than the fact that the Taliban was making most of their money off opium.
I think that was the case. Oh well, that was a dead end.
I mean, that
haven't dived down this hole.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, have you? I mean, even in like North Korea, their main export is meth. Did you know that? Like, like the North Koreans, like that's how they like basically keep afloat, making meth. Like, what the fuck? I mean, that's not even like with the opium thing. So I don't know a whole lot about it, but it doesn't even. It's not even conspiracy. It's just corruption. I think that's where a lot of these conspiracy. The problem I have with a lot of conspiracy theories actually is the fact that they make genuine scandals like what you're kind of talking about. They can't resist from exaggerating them, and it kind of depletes the intensity of a real scandal.
Yeah,
or even a real conspiracy theory, like I mean, the pedophile cabal, for example. You've got Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. So there's grounds to believe that there are elites peddling underage, like underage people or children at a crazy elite level. But they have to go too far and say they're harvesting adrenochrome, and it's Hillary Clinton herself. Yeah, and it just kind of makes the whole thing. Everyone can categorize that into the nutbag category, and if they actually wanted to get to the bottom of it, they could actually go about it a very intelligent way and not compromise the whole the whole perception of what's going on.
Epstein's weird as like there's a sketchy guy who's involved with. takes me back to what I started off the podcast with, mate. I thought drug dealers and rich people were needing to launder some money.
If anyone wants to launder their drug money through my art, I will happily accommodate.
But it's like this sketchy guy that moves money around and sort of connects people, and then came from nowhere and went about it by sketchy means and probably compromised a bunch of people. And it's like, there's some people that have made some dumb decisions and involved around this guy, and it's all hush hush, and he's dead, and we probably won't know the answer.
Yeah, isn't that a shame? Isn't that a shame that he I don't know.
He suicided.
He was suicided. It is a shame. It would have been great to extract a lot of information out of that fucking creep. But hey,
Meanwhile, his lady's not going on trial for another year or so she's got plenty of time to suicide.
I know everything's gone quiet there, hasn't it? With old Ghislaine.
Yeah,
I want to know what Ghislaine's up to right now. Oh well,
she's in a prison, right, or just kind of in a lockdown.
Yeah, and they were making all these what was it? Not claims. They were kind of. Her lawyers were getting all uppity, saying, it's inhumane the way she's being treated. And you're like, well, that's the prison system. Yeah, you're in a cell. You're not on your yacht anymore. So
yeah, well, that's like I talked to a lady from Chicago, and they do yoga in the jail system, and so she was telling me how a lot of people in the jail system in Chicago will just plead guilty because they've been in the jail for 2 years, and if they try go against question their charge, they might end up then going to prison for 5 years. Whereas if they said, yeah, they're like, yep, that happened, then they get out of jail and they go home.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
that's fucked.
Yeah, it is fucked. It's totally fucked. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuck. There's not much justice in the world these days, is there?
Mate, so what is all this like mess do to your muse? Like, where's the muse? Like, before all this, you're going to India and doing cool shit.
To be honest, it's been it's a cruel little cosmic joke where you've got all the time in the world to make art, but no inspiration to actually do it. So yeah, it's been a bit rough. The first 2 weeks of this lockdown, I got the SADs. I've been pretty good actually most of the whole time, but it just everything got cancelled, and actually just got into running. Running just kind of fucking pulled me out of it. But yeah, so look, it definitely has sucked the energy creatively. I can't deny, but that's why, I don't know, I think it's really great to have projects that are not directly related to my art practice. So the podcast, that's been a really great way to keep social, not just isolated, and actually still put out something and express yourself in a different way. But this mural that I'm doing at the moment is literally just a joke mural. Like, I'm doing a mural for this guy called Eddie Chapek, who's this like just a guy that I found on Instagram that's basically just like Mr. America. He's Florida man. The best way I could describe this guy is Florida man. He's just Florida this man? Like, every single time a horrendous article happens in America, they always refer to it like basically like a man from Florida, but they always say Florida man did this, Florida man did that. So it's like this kind of joke that Florida man's one person. So basically this guy's just he's just this larger than life weird guy. His Instagram is at Eddie Chapek. Everyone get on board. But he just basically eats disgusting food, yells at his camera, and gives me shout outs. And so I made a mural about him because he got sick recently. So I just thought, I'm just going to make a mural, completely nothing to do with my art practice, and just celebrate this weirdo in the corners of the internet. And I'm looking forward to giving it to him. I think it's going to blow his mind. So yeah, pretty much just doing creative things that are just actually way less to do with my my base art practice has been keeping me. It's transformed me from being just down and wishing that I was getting more success with my art, wishing that I was getting more opportunities, and just kind of shifting it into something that has no meaning and no deeper purpose other than fun, has been a huge uplifting thing for me at the moment. I'm in a great mood these days. I'm still in lockdown, but I'm just like way more chipper than I was about 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And I think, that's it.
So like my art history is pretty freaking visceral, but like,
mate, you were painting in the chalk in the floor before.
No,
excellent.
I got dragged through a few galleries as a youngster. My mum's reasonably keen on art, and done the odd weekly lesson. I think I kept her sane from three boys and a dad that was coaching Rome. But like, so my art history is very visceral. But there's like periods in the world that are just super fucking depressing, and images out there that are just like, massive wall pictures of just death in black and grey. Like, how how keen have you been to just do a fucking this is a shit series? Like, is there economics around that? Like, I can't afford to just do a bunch of shit.
No, I mean, I'm happy to do something that I wouldn't think is sellable. That's like fine by me. But the funny thing, like, I've actually thought about that a lot, because a lot of the content that I consume is really fucked up. Like, all the movies I like really twisted horror films. A lot of music that I listen to will often be like quite dark or melancholy, or not always upbeat. I mean, I consume upbeat content too, but and even a lot of the art that I like is often quite twisted or dark. But for me, I've just kind of people do it really well, and I'm not that guy. I'd rather attempt to put out something positive and uplifting. Breathe in the shit, breathe in the negative, take it all in, and try and breathe out a rainbow breath if I can. I'm not always able to do that, but that's kind of like, I think there's like meditations on that. Like if you're meditating, you close your eyes, focus on your breath, and you imagine that every breath that you're breathing in is like a dark negative, the negativity of the world, like a dark air or gas. And then as you breathe it out, you're breathing out light and stuff. And that's kind of like a whole meditation or practice in itself. And I think that's kind of, I really like that idea. I really like that kind of concept of basically trying. I'm not saying that I do that, but attempting to, just put out good vibes. And I love dark content. I'm not saying that people, I'm not saying that's what everyone should do, because most of the content that I like is dark and is quite twisted, even. But yeah, that's kind of how I treat my art practice at least.
So then, how does this sort of comedic art fit in, like dark comedy?
Yeah, totally.
Like I was talking to Mum and Dad yesterday, and when this was in January, I was down visiting my grand. She gave me a bunch of books. These ones on the end there, they're just like rugby books that are really old from 1900 and stuff. And she gave me this other book that's called Angela's Ashes, and it's about like Irish back in the doldrums. And I was saying to Mum, and I was like, that book's hilarious. And she's like, oh, it's pretty sad. I was like, well, yeah, it's sad, but it's also really funny. Like, just that Irish fucking way of looking at things. I just keep cracking up laughing. And it's just like, these people are like drinking tea and having bread and not even not even having that. And just like
that reaction to that, like, I fucking love that. I love that two people can look at the exact same content and someone think that's really messed up, and someone else just actually saying that's hilarious. Like, I love that. So great.
Yeah, like did you, there's too much shit out there, but did you watch any of the Dairy Girls series that was on Netflix?
No, I remember people talking about it, but no.
Same vibe, eh? Like London Dairy's just like getting bombed. Like, I was talking to a lady at work, her mum's from Cork, and then she went back to Ireland a few times and went up to Derry, and she's just like, oh, we were there, and we like literally walked past this barracks, and we were about 3 houses down, and like heard a boom in the night, and they're like, holy fuck, and everyone else was like, oh yeah, something would have got blown up. And they're like, yeah, then we walked past it the next day and it was just gone. And
yeah, right.
And like, it's this show, it's just like a bunch of Catholic schoolgirls like living in a Protestant land and just shit blowing up. And like, it's a comedy. You're just like, yeah, that's
right.
That's dire, but that's kind of funny.
Wait, what's the blowing? What's all the blowing up? Like, what's the context of the whole show?
Oh, so the IRA just keep blowing shit up.
Mum and Dad told me, like, when they used to live in London when they were real young, they would often, like, I think one time they said, oh, we better not go to Harrods, which is like some big shopping centre.
Yeah, shopping
just
centre
before Christmas. And because there might be a bomb. They were joking about it, and they didn't, and there was a bomb. You're like, man, imagine like
Yeah, my ex's
I don't
parents are the
know.
same. They're in London at a similar time, and like, yes, same idea. Like, couldn't leave work because there'd been a bombing, and I was like, fucking, what the heck?
Crazy,
And
crazy.
then again, like the hilarity of Irish people, like they just call it the Troubles.
They call the what? The Troubles.
The Troubles.
Those rascals.
those damn English.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, far out.
yeah. Speaking of, I don't think it's that comedy. And it's a little bit. Scorsese's The Irishman. That's again this
Yeah.
like point blank. Like, yeah, we shot some people, like killed some people.
Yeah.
I was involved.
Totally.
I was involved. And then at the ending, they're like, the FBI's there. And they're like, so what actually happened? And he's like, nah, can't tell you. Like, everyone's dead, man. Just fucking tell us what happened. You're about to die. Just tell us what happened. You've been to prison already. Like, tell us what happened. Nah, can't tell you what happened.
Fuck, isn't Scorsese the master? Like, it's just every one of his films is amazing. You know what they should have done though? Like the makeup on that film was real
Yeah, it was
creepy. When they
creepy.
were making him. It just like
And everyone, like Al Pacino,
yeah.
De Niro, and then the main older dude as well. And then the other way around, when they're in prison, they're like super old, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, exactly. They should just do deep fakes because they've got the technology of deep fakes now. Like instead of
how
making
good's Tom
this
Cruise?
crazy elaborate, Tom Cruise is a deep fake. His whole fucking persona is just a deep fake.
so you're willing to jump down the Tom Cruise conspiracy model there? He just doesn't actually exist, and that TikTok channel is just Tom Cruise.
Have you seen the HBO documentary Going Clear?
No.
Oh mate,
Too much shit.
Get on it.
Is he the main storyline? Is he?
Well, no, it's a pretty long film, but they go deep on. I mean, the whole thing's going real deep on Scientology and just how like twisted of a cult it is. But they do spend a fair bit of time on Tom Cruise, and man, like just his whole existence is just manufactured and like propped up by them, like all the women that they facilitate for him, like Katie Holmes and stuff. They're just like, what about this, Tom? Will you accept this bride? It's like, yes. And it's so bizarre.
Was he Scientology before Nicole Kidman?
Can't remember. I feel like he was, but I can't quite remember actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that didn't go too well.
No, now she's married. Now she's married to the country music king.
Yeah, right.
One of.
Yeah, one of. Yeah. I went to the when I was in LA, I went to the Scientology headquarters, like the big blue building. I just like walked in. I was just like, "Hi, how you going? Can I get a personality test, please?"
Yeah, I think when we spoke last time, you said they kind of.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, they kind of got sick of you when you weren't going to give them any money.
Yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. Like, yeah, in the documentary, there's another thing they took on the was it the IRS, the whole American tax, like, and they fucking won.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
We're a religion. We don't need to pay you guys any money.
It's insane. It's Going Clear. Couldn't recommend it enough. Really, really great film.
Yeah. So the tangent that we've gone on, like, start off with how do you do black comedy art? Like can you just like vent off with something random, or could you make all this just stuff is ridiculous? That's like, and who would know?
Yeah, totally. Well, it's funny because like comedy is not a thing that's expressed that often in art. Like there is like comedic art here and there, but really not much. Sorry,
a Campbell's soup can. That's probably
exactly. Comedic. I mean, that's funny how much it sells for. That's where the comedy is.
Banksy does some. That's irony, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's still comedy though. Like Banksy would probably be a good example.
This is really like if you think art knowledge falls down.
That's fine. My art knowledge is actually pretty rubbish as well, and I run a mostly art podcast. But yeah, it is. It's like it's a funny thing how like certain genres are just absent from certain creative expressions. It's not absent, but there's not much of it. I guess that's the thing. It's like a film can be so much more three-dimensional or a song or an artwork can be, but you're ultimately left with one object or image usually, which I guess the joke would get old, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was about to say, how long does a piece take? And then
Yeah.
how long is it like it's not topical anymore? Or it's been
True.
done, man.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I guess this mural that I'm doing is comedy and art. It's Mr. Eddie Chapek, Mr. Sunshine, penthouse to penthouse. Everyone's got to get on Mr. Sunshine. Anyway.
So is he in Florida? Or is he in Melbourne?
Yeah. He lives in Miami.
Yeah.
He's I'm just relaying an inside joke now that no one's going to understand. So yeah,
well,
moving on.
I know what he looks like because I follow you on Instagram. But yeah, there's actually a doctor called Jack Cruz, and he has some good points, and he has some questionable points. What's
he all about?
He was a little bit COVID denying initially, and then he was, I've got friends in ICUs and nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden I've got friends in ICUs and there's a lot of shit happening, and this is what we should be doing to prevent that. And he was partly right because he's been about vitamin D and sunlight the whole time, so he did have a leg to stand on. He's been on ivermectin. That's what I've been doing tonight. I've been doing a Sudoku, having some red wine and listening to Rebel Wisdom on their latest.
Yep, Rebel Wisdom's good, isn't it? Andy got me onto that. It's been a really nice objective look at the whole ivermectin thing.
Yeah. This latest one.
What do you think about it, ivermectin?
So I've been partly because I've had a vaccine, so it's like I was talking about with Andy. I want my position to be right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's my bias. And then I was talking to somebody the other day and they're talking about myocarditis. It's like, fuck, I should probably go get some heart scans every year for the next 5 and then see how we're going. Let alone the fact that I ran an ultra marathon last year and probably gave myself myocarditis, but that's beside the point. Don't worry about it. I've got no baseline, which is the shit thing. Ivermectin could work, and Rhonda Patrick brought up a good point the other day that the data's a mess, but what she could glean out of the data is it might help with clearance. I was like, oh, that's a good thing.
It
might help with viral clearance.
Right.
And that's actually what this latest Rebel Wisdom dude, what was his name? I was just listening to it. Oh, of course, it's gone to go to sleep, Ryan mode. Oh, golly. It's a bit like, there we go. Ivermectin backstory.
I listened to that doctor, right?
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah. Yep.
Osgood. Yeah.
I listened to that one yesterday.
He was previously with the FLCCC, so that's the same as Pierre Corey. And and that's what I like. Joe Rogan used ivermectin in the term of trying to clear his COVID away, plus the cocktail of everything else. So it might have helped, but he hasn't caught up with the fact that Pierre Corey got COVID yet, but then he hasn't done a podcast. I mean, that's it. That Pierre, what's his name? Corey. Yeah,
he got it. I think he's also withdrawn a bunch of his statements as well. And this is the thing, right? I've got no issue with ivermectin if it seems to be effective. And listening to, Eric Weinstein and Pierre Corey and all these other ones, Rebel Wisdom kind of goes into it. There seems to be a lot of people in the medical field that have been administering it that seem to swear by it. And now I think literally in the last week, the press for ivermectin is basically one big meme. It's just a big laughing stock. It's livestock, worming stuff, blah, blah, blah. And look, there's truth to that. But at the same time, it's also, I can't tell whether this is just a giant misinformation campaign as well, or if it's just a bit ridiculous what kind of what's being peddled right now. And I think like this is kind of like where I've got a bit of a problem with like the whole Eric Weinstein thing and all that. Like why are we listening to him about ivermectin? He's an evolutionary biologist. He's not a virologist. It's not his field.
He's not a pharmacologist.
It's not his field. And this is, I think, a weird new phenomena that we have. Like, I'm a podcaster, you're a podcaster, love podcasts, also love Joe Rogan. I think he's awesome. But we've got people who are listening to podcasts over the professionals, and people are able to create these really great arguments, and then people will, like, one thing that I just think was really irresponsible about the way Eric Weinstein went about the whole thing is, I mean, he kind of went about it as almost an indirect anti-vax like way. Like, he's not strictly anti-vax. I'm not saying he's an anti-vaxxer, but he's allowed enough wiggle room for it to be like, the vaccine's fucked. Big Pharma's, winning out of this. Ivermectin should be the way. So people have heard that, and people have rejected the vaccine as a result of that. Sure, there's fucking heaps of problems with the vaccine. That's been widely publicized, but I don't know whether he's really helping, and I don't really know whether he's the voice that everyone should be listening to. And I don't particularly think he's like a massive grifter either. Like, I think he's got a lot of really interesting stuff to say, but why are we all listening to a cage fighter / comedian and someone who's completely not their field, which has totally skewed the narrative of public health?
Yeah.
And
one of the things I always think about, and I try to catch myself out on it, is it's called the Dunning-Kruger Effect, and it's your confidence in your knowledge with time. So initially, when you learn a little bit, your confidence is high, and then you learn a little bit more and you realize that you don't know that much, and so your confidence plummets. And then over a very long period of time of continuing to learn more, slowly your confidence will increase, but never back to those levels when you first learned something. And then the other thing is that the word expert, there are not many of them, and they are the people with a lot of knowledge and still have quite low confidence, and they're are not very definitive in what they're saying, and that's kind of how you catch out or grifters or people that the word that Rebel Wisdom's talking about, like being captured by a narrative. That's how you can kind of identify that. You'll often hear people say "but" or "it would suggest," like things like that are really, really good. And it's funny how you're saying how he's kind of left himself open to be like, to grab a few of the anti-vaxxers into his audience, which he doesn't fucking need. But anyway, that's beside the point. And again, it's like there's too much information out there. There's Peter Attia has this really good podcast. He's someone that fucking knows a lot of shit. He's a high-end doctor, high-end engineer, and has worked on the stock market. So he understands a little bit about physics, a little bit about physics, maths, a little bit about economics, and a little bit, quite a lot about medicine and medical science and medical research, and how to look at research. And he interviewed this guy that wrote a book about Andrew Wakefield, who's the original MMR autism bullshit used.
Oh, right.
So the key thing out of that is they used PCR like like 50 odd cycles when you could find anything, and they didn't stipulate whether it was a vaccine type of wild type, or wild type meaning someone actually caught mumps or measles or whatever, or just a contamination from the lab from the control tests they're using. So that those studies were withdrawn. That was fraud, and the story gets lost in that. And Andrew Wakefield sells documentaries and into vaccine magazines now, and lives quite well by the looks of things.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's exactly it. And I think what I get really weary of now is people that come up with the answer. Everyone seems to have the answer, and wants to simplify it. Like that whole thing was like ivermectin is this miracle drug, and you're just like, dude, like, I mean, hey, listen to that podcast with Rogan. It convinced me.
Yeah.
It convinced me. But why has ivermectin, the company, come out and said, please do not take this product for this stuff? It is not proven to work. Why did Rebel Wisdom podcast, who's friends with them, end up saying, look, I think they've lost their way. I think they're too invested in this thing and they're not being objective. And even Joe Rogan's kind of said, look, I think Eric's really overly excited. These are their network, and they're kind of being like, I don't know. But everyone wants this. Everyone wants this narrative of big pharma bad, blah blah blah, and like fuck big pharma. Like I'm on board with that. But if you're just going to have big pharma as a default evil, like whatever the circumstance is, like, you know, why are you taking Panadol? Why are you taking all these things that will save your life? You know, there's this. I think it's this like big desire to have this common enemy. You know, the politicians and the big pharma and all this stuff are all trying to make money, and there's actually a camaraderie in forming a resistance. And look, I don't know, this with all conspiracy theories and stuff, there's always sprinkles of truth. So I'm not even trying to can ivermectin. Ivermectin could be a very good thing. Like surely, like if it does turn out to be not too not harmful, very safe drug, couldn't you just combine that with the vaccine? Does it have to be one or the other? Do we have to can the vaccine altogether? Because that seems to be all that anyone's taking away from this whole thing. Vaccine bad, ivermectin good, and I just think that's like dumb.
Yeah. What I was just looking at there on my phone is the other bloody double-barreled concept that I saw it straight away last year, and it's called the Kubler-Ross model, and it's the model of grief, and you always tiptoe between the 5 stages, and it's like sadness, depression, anger, bargaining, and then hopefully some acceptance. And things keep changing, so we keep having to go through these grief stages. But this stuff is just like a bit of anger, a bit of bargaining, you know, what if, and if I just, then I can fucking move on with my life.
Yeah.
And when I've had people go through breakup, I think just knowing that those are the things that are going to fucking happen to you, or like anything bad happens to you, knowing that those 5 things are going to happen and they're going to come in waves, and you're going to have days where you're like, sweet, I'm over this and I'm moving on. And then you're just going to go, fuck, or oh shit, I feel like crap. Or what about if that happened? You know, this is what we keep going through with COVID. And every time something changes, or every time somebody comes up with the hallelujah moment, we're like, awesome, bargain. I'm going to take that bargain and let's go. Let's move on. I'm going to take ivermectin, or, you know, I'm going to take the vaccine and everything's going to be great. And that's not where I'm sitting at. And like, you see Delta and you see the information around, you know, what's happening with our vaccine, and you look at Israel, which is mostly Pfizer, and shit's not going that good anymore. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Look, I mean, exactly like you're saying, it's a developing situation. And I think what we have is, if you've got people that their trust is so, their distrust for anything, any of the mainstream narrative is just a default. The mainstream narrative is bad. They're probably going to be right a few times. You know, they're probably going to be right just because that was always their thing. Like, I don't think they're always looking at it objective. So there are going to be instances in this
confirmation
really
bias.
Complex. Totally. But there are going to be examples of greed. There are going to be examples where big pharma and companies like Pfizer are cashing in. But that doesn't mean that the entire vaccine operation is an evil thing that's not effective. I mean, variants are arising, so things are. Maybe the vaccine isn't as effective now that we have Delta. But then you've got all these people saying, see, it's not even effective. I told you way back before Delta even happened. You're like, well, your opinion's fucking uninformed and you're just making negative noise. So shut the fuck up and move aside. Like, it's too many experts, too many cooks in the kitchen. It's that's what I find more worrying than anything. It's just how divided everyone's getting.
And you sort of see this same argument for two sides of this. No, one side of the story uses the same argument for two different ways of looking at stuff, and so it's like, fuck big pharma, the whole group of them. But this is a competitive economic market where there's a number of players on board who are all different companies, and within the people working for them, they have the opportunity to make a lot of money. Probably, as we've talked about, there's a lot of people that have shares across all of them, and so they're going to make some money, whoever wins. But in saying that, they've got to still pick their company that they invest the majority in, and so for them to be the main player, they need to be successful. They need their vaccine to work, to have the least side effects, to be the safest, to win. This is still a competition.
No, absolutely. But that whole narrative isn't as exciting as the other narrative. And I think that's
unfortunately, they all don't care, and they're all going to make the money. They're not.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, that it sounds like I'm being a big cheerleader for all the wrong people. You know? And I found myself, total shill. I found myself like, I don't want to defend corporations, big pharma, and government. Like, I'd like to get back to hating on them just like I used to. But I think, when usually the most boring story is actually the real one. And a friend of mine recently said, he said a good quote off the top of his head. It was, I think, basically, no one's got control right now.
Yes.
At all. So if they can't control their situation, the one thing that they can control is the narrative that they tell themselves. And I think that's a large thing of what's going on. And when you can twist the narrative to find a common enemy, and look, I'm sure there are fucking common enemies in this that we should band together. That's why I'm not shitting on these people anymore, really, that go to these like protests. Like, there do need to be people that keep the authorities in check in terms of our freedom of speech, in terms of our rights and all that. I'm not the guy, because I don't understand it all enough. But there are people who are really, I mean, Andy's really into his whole perspective on the thing, as far as I can tell, is mostly, I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, Andy, but mostly about governments taking our rights.
Yeah, and that's what I mean as well. They're two different arguments.
But 9/11 happened, and what came out of 9/11? We got the mass surveillance. Like, everyone's being spied on now as a result, pretty much, of 9/11, and then the Patriot Act happened, and then they started spying on our, all under the guise of looking for terrorists. So it's real shit. There's real repercussions of government of taking your rights. Personally, we got locked down and we got put back to pretty much normal. You're seeing in Europe, it's pretty much open now. People are able to travel around. So to me, that's enough proof to say that, like, I think the world wants to get moving again. I don't think they want to keep us locked down. I don't understand why keeping everyone locked down would help any of the people in power. I just, like, in my brain, it doesn't make sense. It's not a feasible conspiracy. So
it's been my question as well. And I haven't been able to come up with a really convincing argument. And it's what is the benefit for a country of having a highly unemployed, highly dependent society?
Totally.
When every other time it's like, we want our unemployment to be, that's our metric, like, shit, we're doing good. Our household income is up and our employment is low. Like, our Prime Minister, that's her portfolio is like child poverty. Like, that's the big deal job. I don't understand why we want to keep perpetuating. Like, So it's like someone a bit smarter than me, a bit more involved than me, someone that has the time to just actually dive into this shit, has decided that, hey, we could and like, geez, in New Zealand, summer was fucking awesome. Meanwhile, the rest of the world was just going, oh my God, this sucks.
We had the same thing, but everyone's super forgetful about that. You know, we were free most of the time while the rest of the world was not. And everyone was very short memory about all that.
I don't want to come across as high and mighty that I'm sitting here by myself in Tokoroa going, oh, life's sweet. I'm going, fuck, I hate this.
You are high and mighty, though.
High and mighty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I hate this too. It sucks.
Yeah, we all hate it. We all hate it.
Yeah, but
I mean, but like having said that, like my episode of the Freedom March got pulled off YouTube. Like there are genuine concerns. It got back on after I like refuted it.
Yeah, how did that go?
You know. Yeah, I mean, look, I just wrote to them and said, like, no, I'm being objective and blah, 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 blah. And they said, yep, we reviewed it and it's back on. But, you know, just the knee jerk of just pulling something off. I mean, I'm broke as I'm not making money off my YouTube videos at all. There's fuck all, you know, there's not many views in the big scheme of things. But yeah, if someone does get their voice pulled when that's their entire business, like, yeah, I mean, there are big... Censorship is a huge concern, and government overstretch is I'm thinking more and more that it is a big concern.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we haven't seen through the initial plan, and I guess that's kind of where I sit. Like, wait till majority of the people are vaccinated, and if they're still trying to withhold overreach, then I'll probably be there with everyone protesting. I mean, many people might think that I'm being naive. Yeah,
that's my exact same position. I've said a couple of times in the last 2 days. I'm very, like I said, we're at 55% of one vaccination or more. When we get to 70%, or we're at 22% of both. When we get to 70% or so, then what happens? And then my sort of frustration, anger. And I'm a typical Kiwi bloke, and my spectrum of emotions are pretty narrow. They're getting better, but anger unfortunately tends to predominate. I'll be interested to see how things go. But like you say, like we still haven't got past the initial plan, and it's probably a lot of this instant gratification world that's showing its ugly head again. Like, oh, fuck, we can't wait 2 years. World Wars went for 5.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I think we all need to like pull back and realize that like it's been almost 2 years. That's a long time, but it's also not that long. Like in 4 years or 3, hopefully 3, but maybe 4 or maybe 5, whatever. When we're a little bit grayer, a little bit further down the track, but I imagine, and look, I might be totally fucking naive. I might be completely wrong, but I imagine that will be like bloody hell. What a shit. Like few years. Like, I mean, that's just like, I might be wrong, but that's just kind of how I see it.
Yeah, it that sort of long road mentality. Like we, not me. I didn't really do much history, but in the history books and what you learn about in history is 5 years of World War here, 5 years of World War here. Long generational wars back then. The flu pandemic, the Great Depression. Stuff like that. We're currently in some history.
Yeah, we're exactly that. Did you listen to the last podcast on the left?
No.
Oh my God.
Where's it coming from?
Would have to be. It's only on Spotify. It's these 3 comedians. It's probably one of my favorite podcasts of all time, actually.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So it's these 3 comedians, and they're like, it's basically a true crime podcast, but they do things like cults, they do conspiracy theories, they do serial killers, and they basically do like often like 3 or 4 part episodes where they just like do the whole story of whatever the subject is, and they just make really, really inappropriate jokes the whole way through. But anyway, my point of bringing them up is they just did a 5-part series on the Black Death, which was just basically like these plagues in the Middle Ages that was like the worst period ever to live.
Yeah.
And like it's at the beginning of medicine, like there's basically no medicine, and it is like, holy shit, like this thing went on for so long and it was worldwide and these plagues were beyond fucked and no one had an answer. Like they couldn't recommend it more. Like Spotify, the last podcast on the left, listen to the 5-part series on the Black Death. It's also hilarious. There's just so many diarrhea jokes in there. It's a joke. Like it's not even funny by the end of it. It's real dark humor too. But
have they done anything on universal medicine? That was the best. Not the best, but that was one of the good things about living in Ballina. The 2 cafes, which were fantastic, essentially owned by the cult. I was like, oh man.
Really?
I was like, I feel bad going to the good cafe.
What's this?
Do you not know about universal medicine? It's been on the ABC, mate.
Really?
Oh, there you go. There's a little hole for you. Go look up. It's on YouTube.
Mr. Conspiracy guy doesn't know a fucking conspiracy.
Yeah, a local one. I like what Andy does. He's the
I think he's told me about it. Actually,
yeah, he goes.
Now that I think about it,
I brought it up to him and he said, "Well, fuck those guys. I've lost so many friends to those bastards." He's just a bit of a creep that claims to be Jesus and Leonardo da Vinci. Does some Ayurvedic medicine, which includes ovary and breast massage. It appears, this is the narrative from the ABC. He dwindles doing older females dying with cancer out of their money, and that's how he balls. And he set up shop in the UK as well. It's like good. What a nice
bloody hell.
Yeah.
Like none of these people who get like reincarnated, like they're always these grand people how come none of them are reincarnated from a fucking ant or a slug, They're always Jesus. They're always bloody Leonardo da Vinci.
It's because they're
Christian
beliefs rather than what's that Buddhist beliefs where you've done something bad in your past and you
yeah exactly.
Yeah.
I have to look into that. What is universal
medicine? And it's like quite trippy because there's an insurance company called UniMed. And I was like, when I first found, because I was working in Ballina and we had these 2 cafes, which are great. The Bell, if you're in Ballina, they're good cafes. They serve all press very well and got good food. But yeah, and then I'd go into Casino, which was quite close to Lismore, and I think the guy might have been originally from Casino. He's like a tennis player. Like it's just weird. Like this tennis player come healer, and you're like, what? How'd you do that, mate?
Tennis player / healer. It's so great.
Yeah. And so like not to bag Pete Evans because I've had him on and I think he just got stuck in a rut after he went to Panama, did a bit of ayahuasca, came home, and then bloody COVID happened. I think that's his rut. I think that's
who's this.
Oh, Pete Evans.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what actually happened to poor Pete. That he had ayahuasca and then got home and COVID happened. But anyway, I don't know if Pete's like joined up with Universal Medicine or he's going to be direct competition up there in the Northern Rivers. But that'll be interesting. But you can't follow Pete anymore. Of course, he's just banned from everything.
What was his main controversy? He's the chef guy, right?
Yeah, chef. He was big on QAnon.
Yeah. What wasn't there some? And you've had him on. Oh man, I have to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, it was before I moved to Aussie, so it's like about episode 40 odd.
Okay,
I said about 3.
Wasn't there some Nazi stuff?
Oh, that's what pulled him. So he put up this. I
don't know the whole story.
So he put up this cartoon of a caterpillar talking to a butterfly, and it's something about reincarnation or growing or growth or something like that. And apparently it used to be a Nazi propaganda poster or something like that, or there's a Nazi reference there. Again, I'm uneducated on this. I'm butchering it. That's why I said I'm not meaning any disrespect to Pete Evans. I've got nothing.
Sure.
But
Sure. Yeah, and look, I didn't mean to just throw that in there because I haven't looked into it either, so I could be wrong. That's just the I remember looking at a news article about it. But when I was at the Freedom March thing, one of the guys was because one question I started asking was, who are the good guys?
Yeah,
and Pete Evans came up a couple of times.
Oh,
so they love him. He's
he
got
was
a base.
He was embedded in QAnon, and I think he was going to run for some parliament, whether that was New South Wales or or go to Canberra. I don't know how you go from state to what do they call it? Commonwealth government, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Up there in Canberra. I learned that from Gypsy Tales yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Lived in Australia for a year. Don't know anything about how your political system works.
Hey, but like you were saying at the very start, like these people, the way they talk is so they've done their research on what they think is the truth. Like they're not lazy researchers. I mean, I think their research completely lacks critical thinking, and I think it lacks being objective. And I think, there's a lot of confirmation bias, but like, the QAnon crowd and a lot of the conspiracy theories, there's so many of them trying to run in politics now. Like that must take an incredible amount of motivation and certainty about your own beliefs. Like, and that's one thing I like thinking about is like when you think about these people who are spouting these like really dangerous ideas through QAnon and stuff, and a lot of this stuff often leads to anti-Semitism. Weirdly, I don't know why, but a lot of deep conspiracy theories lead to anti-Semitism.
But these people, seeking comings.
Yeah, totally. A lot of doomsday cult kind of references and parallels, but you have to remind yourself that these people, like, even though it is very dangerous, they honestly believe that they're like doing the right thing. They believe that they're fighting a war between good and evil. I guess that's anyone radicalized. And when you think about that, like, I guess that's where some compassion can kind of come in, and I think that's what we all do need to practice. And I'm guilty of not having it because I do think it's quite entertaining. But
that's what's just happened in New Zealand. Someone who is radicalized, and they questions being asked, well, is he part of ISIS? And it's like, well, he's a mentally unwell mentally unwell person who prescribes to Islamic ideologies, and at the sort of literal end of the spectrum, but he's
one man show
that people have been watching. And it's a bit like the one 2 years ago in New Zealand that one of your exports, and it's like, is he a white supremacist? Well, yes, he is a white person with these tip of the iceberg Christian ideals, which I don't know, and radicalized by a groupthink on 4chan and 8chan, and you go, well, how do you throw it in? And that's where this sort of label bashing to identity bashing comes in. And you go, well, we're getting away from what's happened here. Yeah. And it's like, and that's where, like you say, like that's the end of the spectrum. A bit like when it comes to freedoms and stuff, Afghanistan and ISIS is the end of the spectrum of you've got no fucking, or like Nazism, world wars are fought over it. That's the end of the spectrum. Where do I stand on my freedoms, and where do I stand on my community allegiance, I guess, or greater good ideas? Brett Weinstein had a good idea that, like, there's no military time leadership going on here, that all of our situations suck shit. This is what we're doing at the moment. I need you to get involved with it because we think that this is the best way forward. Let's do it. Let's go forward. There's none of that going on. And so therefore we've just got this space of questioning and doubting, and no one coming together on it. And again, it goes back to what you're saying about Trump. It was just like the wedge between this and egotistical and narcissistic ideas just everywhere, flagrant.
Yeah. It's I don't know, poor Brett Weinstein. I mean, not really. Like, I don't think he's a grifter, but
sorry, Eric was the person that was talking. His brother.
Yeah,
he talked about him a bit.
You're talking about Eric, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't mean to like come across like I'm fully anti the Weinsteins or anything, but I just think I just don't know why we're all listening to podcasters for medical information.
Yeah.
And not to say that there's some great podcasts that have the right, like really good medical professionals on. And yeah, that's a valid way to take in information, but I don't know, just cross-reference, you know, like
hard out. I think that's what I think that's what Peter Attia does well. And when I'm going for medicine, and I learn a lot of medicine from his podcast, I listen to Peter's podcasts.
Yeah.
when I look for opinion, I go to everywhere else. And it's funny how like all the sort of popular narratives around there, and then Jarrigan just has his mates on, and you're like, oh, that's the one. That's what I'll listen to. Especially like when he pumps out 5 in a row, and you're like, holy shit. I missed a bunch. And then who's a comedian? I want to laugh.
Yeah, totally.
And then Andrew Schultz gets on there and just rips out Yarming Park. You're like,
oh, he's great. I haven't listened to that one yet, but yeah, I gotta check. Yeah, he's fucking hilarious, man. I listened to this Rogan one today with this chick Megan Murphy, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I listened to that the other day. Yeah, bro.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon of her?
She is probably retracting a lot of which is good to hear played out that I was wrong in a lot of the ways that I thought. And like she said, when I started on this feminist movement, I was 23. And I was very liberal, progressive into liberal. And now I get quite conservative about some things. And I was like, and as she said, that's like 20 years of my life. Like, would you still want me to be a 23-year-old female? I don't want to be my 25-year-old self. He's a fucking loser.
I definitely don't want to be my 25-year-old self. That's for damn sure. Yeah.
He's good at a few things. He managed to get through an optometry degree and play some okay rugby, but golly.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, on that, I do respect that, you know, that big turnaround. But I don't know. I just listened to her talk. I just like, bloody hell, mate. Her attitude towards trans people was like so fucking black and white. Yeah, they're all mentally ill. Is basically what she was saying. I was just like, fucking hell, like. I think she trans, eh?
Yeah, it was weird because she
seemed very anti-trans.
Yeah, she'd like acknowledge like some key points that Joe would make, but then agree and pivot. And you're like, well, weird. Like you're still. I think she's still trying to nut it out. Like it's.
Well, that's what I think. I guess that's exactly like with this. I felt like she was someone who doesn't really know herself. She doesn't know her views yet, but she's broadcasting them, and she's got a huge audience. And you haven't. The bread's out of the oven too early. You know, it's doughy
in the middle.
These are doughy ideas. They're really doughy ideas. But I guess like my big worry, like she's talking about how she used to be really left and almost Marxist. But you see these people who like they get shut down by the woke.
Yeah, they go to the other side.
Whatever brigade. And then they see like they don't have this middle ground certainty because they don't know their own ideas well enough. And instead of just being like, I'm still left, or whatever, but fuck off woke dickheads, like as we can all agree, even people left and right can all agree that the woke brigade is fucking annoying as fuck and not helping anything. But instead of that, they see these like right-wingers coming with their open arms, and they become like, they just kind of start adopting all these like the talking points of the right, like every single one of them. Like they don't just go like Joe Rogan's got these like, you know, I'm mostly left, but I have right ideas here and there. But a lot of these other people, like, you know, Dave Rubin's another shyster that's out there. He's a shit cunt, I reckon. It's just like he goes from left, but then like all of a sudden they just like adopt all these right-wing views because they're just getting a pat on the head, you know. They're like,
And it's funny with Dave. It's like, yeah, you're gay, but good points.
Dude, isn't he like the most bizarre anomaly? Like, he is a gay man who's married, and he's sidling up to all these homophobes.
Yeah, like,
and he's trying to justify. It's like, well, hey, we could all have it. It's like, dude, like, what do you stand for, man?
Yeah, like Ben Shapiro saying that he like wouldn't invite him for dinner, but he'd go out for dinner with him. And I was like, this is confusing. He's my great friend. Dave's my great friend, but I wouldn't invite him to my house. I wouldn't have gone to his wedding. I was just like, this is confusing. Dave Rubin is confusing. You're confusing me. But like,
that's a man with no integrity, and he's chasing his wallet into his fucking fame. That's all Dave Rubin is, in my perspective. He's made a lot of money hating on the woke. Very predictable talking points, and he must be in the weirdest place, because like half his support network completely don't agree with his existence.
Yeah. How bizarre. Mate,
how bizarre.
As I said, like, when it came to the muse and stuff, you got to spend a bit of time in India and things like that. Like, have you had like a connection of what's going on over there, or you've been following what's going on over there, or
in India?
In India.
Oh, mate, it was pretty funny when we were there.
Yeah.
Because when we were there when my flight came back was the weekend all the airports started shutting down. So COVID was happening while we're in India, and it was really amping up. And like, this might sound like a weird thing to say, but like, I totally experienced what racism must feel like, because like, as like white foreigners at the time, it was Italians that were taking COVID around the world, and some Italians had taken it. Some Italians had taken it through India. That was the first exposure, and that was while we were there. So everyone was looking at us like we would go into shops and they wouldn't let us in. They wouldn't serve us. They'd literally make us sit at the back of the bus. It was so bizarre. We were kind of laughing about it, but like, once people kind of got to know us, they're like, yeah, you're cool. Like, but even getting a guest house was hard. People just wouldn't accept us, and we'd walk into a bus stop and everyone would walk away. It was like,
so you were cruising around. Okay,
we were cruising around, yeah, and
like town to town and city to city and stuff like that.
Pretty much, penthouse to penthouse.
Racism, whatever.
But I mean, look, it's weird, because like we were. I mean, I really checked in when all those public cremations were happening in Delhi.
Yeah.
That really hit me hard, because I know these cities. I've been to Delhi, and I brought that up with a lot of conspiracy theorists, and like, oh, public cremations are very commonplace in India. And it's like, well, in certain parts of India, like Varanasi, they are, but burning people in the streets of Delhi is not common at all. This is completely not common at all. So those videos and photos of seeing piles of flames and bodies in them in India, I don't know, did you see those
loosely? I was
just like,
I've had my blinders on to the rest of the world. I'm going to be honest. It's hard. It's been hard.
I mean, that was fucked. And like, I had an Uber driver not too long ago, just before this lockdown, and he was from India, and I was like, love sparking up a chat with an Indian wherever I can find them, because I've been to India 3 times, and I just love the place, so I've always got a lot to talk about. And I was just chatting with this guy, and like, he'd lost 3 family members to COVID.
Yeah,
like, fuck. Bang, lost 3 family members. That's just, he was downplaying. He was like, yeah, it sucks, but blah blah blah. Anyway, how's your day been? It's just like, yeah, not good, really not good over it seemed over there. And a lot of people just want to sweep that shit under the rug, but pretty much since then, I've been keeping my haven't been paying too much attention. My wife Yuria, she's from Japan. I think Japan's been doing it a little bit tough lately. Europe's just open. Everyone's traveling around Europe. Yuria's brother just went like rock climbing in Italy, because they live in Berlin, and
I saw Dimension was playing in Bratislava the other night.
Yeah.
So that shit's back on.
Yep, totally.
Creamfields happened. That looked fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I haven't been keeping track on. I don't know. India looks like they had it tough, but fuck. I mean, I don't even know what to believe anymore. Like according to the whole ivermectin narrative, India's doing great due to ivermectin now. So I don't fucking know. I don't know what to make of anything.
Yeah.
Everything's a lie.
What's the connection with India? What brings you there? What takes you there 3 times, man?
Okay, so I read a book Shantaram, which I loved. That was about this guy, Gregory David Roberts, who was basically an Australian outlaw who went on the run to India and lived in the slums.
Why was he outlawed from Australia?
Sorry?
Why was he outlawed from Australia?
I think he was a bank robber.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's actually a very good friend of mine's godfather.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the story is very, what's the word? Exaggerated. So it's not particularly a non-fiction. It's a very fictionalized based on his story. But yeah, anyway, like it's just a very descriptive book, and he lived in the slums for years and very romanticized India. I also got really into years ago, which I'm still very into. Yeah, Ram Dass and his stories going through India. Just maybe when I first went, I was very doughy-eyed and very idealistic, hoping to find my guru. But turns out my guru was an American psychedelic guy in Hawaii. So I ended up having my best spiritual experiences in Hawaii. But once I went there, like, I don't know, I just loved it. I mean, it's rough. It's rough as fuck, but the people are so lovely, so warm. Definitely got its pretty fucked aspects of the culture, but there's
does Yuri come
beautiful
with you?
She's been with me twice.
And how does she
first
feel?
time I went, first trip was challenging because like their attitude towards women is like, look, it's not like it is here. She'll pay and they'll give me the money. She'll ask a question, they'll answer me. And like also like another thing, probably I've really noticed my third trip, like pretty much no interaction with Indian women. Almost all my interactions with Indian men, because the women are all at home. So Mumbai is very different. Mumbai's got this like really great splice of Western kind of life mixed with the Indian life. So because, they got Bollywood, so there's much more money in Mumbai. People are much more into fashion and dressing up, and it's not as traditional as most of the other places I've been. So I definitely met a lot more like Indian women there, but on the whole, it's like it's just very different. But you know what? If you're going into someone else's place, you kind of just have to know that and roll with the punches and not. It's probably not a very fair thing for me to say as a man who had it pretty easy, but like you kind of unfortunately have to suck it up, I guess. You're not going to make your inequality case in India yet. But I mean, look, it's awesome. It's just an adventure. It's a massive adventure. You get sick, you shit yourself. You see beautiful nature. You meet great people. You end up at like a family's house and they cook you food, and
wow,
it's very humbling as well. Like people have got nothing, and they're happier than most of the people you see in Australia. It's great.
So what are you using to book accommodation and things over Airbnb, or what's the
first few times I just rock up. Rock up, and if people are at the bus stop, cool. And then if not, I just ask people in the street, where can I stay? They direct me. Traveling with Yuria, we book just easier. Easier when actually just getting you get over bed bugs, put it that way. I've had bed bugs more times than I can remember, and it fucking sucks when they get in your when they get in your luggage. It's like the worst thing ever. But man, it's I had some very, very good times in India. Some very strange times too. Sorry, got a tickle in my throat.
Yeah, have a drink, mate. So I mean, Do you know when you're being let out? Do you have a plan, or what just is keeping you ticking along while you
Mate,
wait?
I got no fucking idea, because it's a weird thing now. Like, I feel like the country's finally given into the fact that lockdowns don't really work now that Delta's come in. It's a different beast. So they're slowing the outbreak. It's like rising maybe 10. So it's like 120 cases a day or something today. And then tomorrow it might be like 130 and then maybe 150. So it's instead of
jumping, still growing.
It's growing, but very slowly. But it's definitely growing. Like this time last lockdowns, it had plateaued and then declined. That just doesn't seem like it's going to happen with Delta. So now they seem like in the last week or whatever, they've kind of realized that that's what's going to happen. They're trying to get vaccine numbers up. Australia's had a terrible vaccine rollout. So I don't know. The plan's going to have to change because it's going to get worse. The numbers are just like the floodgates are open now. So if they're not going to try and get back to zero, then it's only going to increase, and we're only going to have it like everywhere, but we'll be vaccinated. So I don't know what that really means. We're same as you. We're isolated from the rest of the world, you know. We're almost in the beginning. Like in America, they dealt with what we're dealing with now over a year ago. They went to the shops, realized that every fourth person could have it, and they just, whatever. But we've got the advantage of the vaccine. So I don't know. I'm just trying to shut out the noise, try to be as unopinionated as I can, which is probably not being very proven on this podcast because I've had my opinions. But fuck it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm opinionated, but I'm also trying not to be opinionated. And just be productive. Being productive is like the best thing for my brain, really.
And you said the running. What are you doing there?
Just started running. Got the Nike Run Club app. Ran 6Ks the other day, which is massive for me because I pretty much hadn't run since high school. Is
Lydia O'Donnell in that run app, in your run app, or is that?
I don't know. I've only just started. I've done like 3 coaching ones.
She's a Kiwi long distance runner that I think she has a little bit to do with Nike Run app, and she's based based there in Melbourne. Lydia O'Donnell. Yeah,
I'll check her out. Yeah.
I don't know how the Nike Run app works, but I just see her and see that. So
okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty I'm just trying to change. Like I said, I'm 34 now. Sports are whenever my go-to. So I'm just trying to really change that because I'm passing my prime. We'll put it that way. And you got to look after your fucking body.
Watch out, David Goggins, Jack Rowland, coming for you.
Fucking David Floggins. He just flogs people, doesn't he? He's an animal. I can't even relate to that guy, but I also love him. Like, he's great, but fucking hell, what a monster.
Yeah, I needed him and Cam Haynes the other day. I had my shoes on the floor. It was the first day of work where I was mentally burnt, just having to 2 weeks off and then having to think of every fucking move while you work. You realize how much stuff is automatic, and then you get home and you're like, I need and I should go for a run, but I'm sitting on my bed. I can't be fucked.
When you exercise, do you respond to the real positive reinforcement, or do you kind of treat yourself like shit?
I'm abusive.
Yeah. I think that works for me too. I'm positive once I've finished. I'm like, pat on the, you're a legend. You did it. But during, I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You're nothing. Who are you?
I was on that run. I was listening to Don DeRay, and I was just like, golly, Kanye, you got a you're just, I guess it's genius.
Yeah.
Of course, I only got not even halfway through the freaking thing. I need to. I still have got 2/3 to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other exercise do you do?
Gone back to CrossFit.
Okay. Yeah.
Which hardcore. I was at a gym in Hawke's Bay, but now I moved to Tokoroa. There's not one, so I go to our gym and do workouts. But I've signed up to sort of a concession for the city that's an hour away. So I work there on a Friday. And so my plan is to go on the Friday morning to the class. And with being a member of the concession, I get the programming. So I get to do the rest of the programming by myself, which is hard sometimes. But yeah, that's keeping me fit and strong, except not at the moment.
Yeah.
Can't go to the gym. Yeah, same ideas. Gyms are closed. Yeah.
I know, man. I can't wait for the rock climbing gym to open again. I love
you do a bit of that?
It's so fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, I did.
Yeah.
Before lockdown, but yeah.
Kent Mulligan was biking today or yesterday, and he went past this sort of underpass that's got bouldering all through it in Melbourne.
There's a few spots in Melbourne like that. Yeah, but but you also kind of need a mat because if you fall, we just fall on concrete.
Not ideal. And climbing a wall is so much better than climbing across. But I don't know. People geek out on bouldering, of course. There's levels to the shit. But
it's a weird subculture, man. They're weirdos, rock climbers, I tell you.
It's exciting.
It's rad.
No, good. So people find you jackrowlandart.com.au.
jackrowlandart.com, at jackrowlandart, and check out Into Deep podcast. I've had all sorts of freaks on there.
John
McAfee. I spoke to a non-offending pedophile recently. I also spoke to a cannibal, a real-life cannibal, someone who has killed and eaten someone.
Holy shit.
So check out Into Deep if you can be bothered listening to my fucking voice.
And who's your mate that you've just done the mural of? He's on there too. Oh, is he
Eddie Shapek. Yeah, check out Eddie Shapek. He's on there too. Silent profile and penthouse to penthouse. Woo! That makes no sense to anyone other than me. But yeah.
I'm going. Do you have anything to leave us with, Jack?
Mate, if everyone can just cool their jets on social media and just be nice, I'm just getting over the social media shitstorm and COVID, That's all I would love everyone to do. Calm down.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't know the answers. I definitely don't know the answers. I definitely don't. And put on Chris Isaac Wicked Games. That's the last advice I'd love to give every one of your listeners. I'm
going to go do that right now. Fantastic.
Yep, awesome. Man, it's so awesome to catch up with you, brother.
Cheers, Jack.
Always a pleasure, dude. Yeah.
So,
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, bro. Legend. Where's the bloody stop button? There.